Hello, Larry. How are you doing? Welcome to our maiden edition of FPL Rodeo Game Week review. We would be speaking about the previous game week and we'll be looking at our possible selections for the upcoming game week. How are you doing, Lanre? Lanre, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing?
Very fine. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. And how is Radiant FC repping this season?
Wow. I mean, it's been an interesting start to the season for me. I did some experiment for Game Week 1 and it didn't kick off on the right note that I expected. So I would say slow start so far, but I'm not fretting. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So we'll see how it goes. How about you? How would you describe your Game Week 1?
Also, Game Week 1 was, as Game Week 1 should be, interesting selections by the various managers in the community. And personally, for me, I was able to see how different managers intend to play this season and their choice of players. I can see we have some high risk takers, people with some crazy differentials. But all in all, it's been fantastic. That said, I'd like to just welcome everyone listening to us. My name is Mayowa. I am currently modding for FPL Rodeo. And if you do not know what FPL Rodeo is about, we're a community of fantasy Premier League lovers. We are football enthusiasts. We love the game. We have strong passion for it. And since we do not play, we manage. And managing the team is one of the most interesting things we can do. And for that reason, we have gathered and we have formed this community to entertain you, to bring you the best possible analysis from past game weeks, upcoming game weeks, chips usage, the entirety of how to play FPL and make fun of the entire experience. And for this week's live video, we have Lanre as one of our managers. We're featuring Lanre on today's FPL review and selection video. We have other managers. I'm sure they're still trying to tweak their team against the transfer deadline that is coming up. So as soon as they're able to join, we'll be bringing them on stage so that you can meet them. So first of all, let's start with Larry. Tell us who you are, your passion for FPL, how long you've played, and maybe just walk us through your starting 11 for the previous game week and the lessons learned from that particular game week. Larry? I lose Larry. Okay. While Larry is trying to figure out how to get
Okay,
that.
so sorry, I'm back.
Okay,
Network issue.
fantastic. Go
Right.
ahead.
Yeah, so I started the journey of FPL I think 5 seasons ago. This is my fifth season into FPL. It was something I just stumbled upon. It wasn't something that I knew about. I've always seen it when I used to read Gold.com back in the years. And I've always wondered what fantasy Premier League was, but I paid no attention. Not until one fateful day, some of my work colleagues, they were just gathered in this cubicle and they're just gisting and discussing. And also captivating, the joy on their faces. And I wanted to know what was going on. They said, "Oh, don't I know what is called Fantasy Premier League?" I'm like, "I know Premier League, but what's there to fantasize about beyond going to the viewing center every weekend to watch football?" And they introduced it to me, they showed it to me. I signed up. Unfortunately, it was already midway into the season. I could not join the league for the company, but I followed up, and I think that season I ended up with just over 1,000 points, and ended up top. I think my rank was almost 6 million out of the total of people that played. This was sometimes between 2018 2019 season. And I got engrossed in the whole activity, the idea that comes with selecting your score, trying to mirror what should be the best player or what should be the best selection that you should pick. So all those fun just got me hooked. And I played again the following season, and it's been a roller coaster mode for me. Last season was perhaps the best I've had so far, when I was top 74,000 in the world. So yeah, the reward for last season was very, very awesome for me.
Fantastic, top 74,000. I'm sure some other managers did way better, but they'll try not to speak. Go
Yeah, I'll
ahead.
be. But then let me blow my trumpet. I mean, it's been a long time for coming. I've always wanted to eat at least top 100. So doing 74 was very awesome for me.
Okay. Good stuff. So what were the lessons learned? Oh, could you be kind enough to maybe if you do not you can show us your team if you don't mind.
Okay,
Show us
yes,
your team, walk us through your thought process for selection. I know we had an interesting conversation last week.
yes.
That's it. Just walk us through your selection and the lessons learned from the I could have moments you had.
Okay, yeah, so I had a very interesting team, I mean, what team is complete without you having Alan? So I stuck with only Alan out of my Man City choice of selection, and being an Arsenal fan and a Saka boy fanboy, I picked him straight away. It was a no-brainer for me. I had Saka, I had Saliba as well. So just here and there, the usual suspects making up my team. I just veered a little bit away from the template, try to look at differentials. Uh, yeah, and there, but then it wasn't a bad weekend. I mean, my projection for the first game week was to be between 75 to 85 points, but I fell way short of that. But looking at the average, I mean, it wasn't a bad performance. Global average was 64. I scored 68. I could have done better, but having a slow start is not the end of the world when it comes to FPL. So yeah, I hopefully I'll be able to share my screen to reveal some of my selection for last game week. But for now, I can't walk my way around that. I'm almost there. Let me see. Okay, yes, I have it. So let me just do that right away. So once you have it up, let me know. Hello.
Yes, so I think it's loading. Let's see.
Okay.
Um, while you're here, I just want to bring up one of our other managers who just joined us. Welcome, Sean. Welcome to FPL Rodeo. I know you've been itching and dying to speak, but I just want to say a very quick welcome to you, and I want to be able to be sure that you can hear us and we can hear you. Sean, are you there? Okay. So while Sean tries to figure out how to say hi to everyone, I'll let Larry continue with the presentation of his team and his I could have moments from last week.
Okay. So my team selection was pretty straightforward, just like I explained earlier. I had Alan up front with Yao Pedro. Then my midfield, I went with a formation of 3-5-2. Two up front with Alan and Yao Pedro. My midfield was pretty star-studded actually. I mean, on paper, I looked at the form of Diogo Jota over the preseason, and I picked him alongside Salah. Then, of course, Eze was one to watch out for. I had him in my squad. Then, with Rashford and Saka completing the five-man midfield. Then for defense, because I've spent a lot on my midfield and maybe some part of my attack, I had little to spend in defense. So I just played safe with Saliba at 5.0, Shaw at 5.5, then Pinnock, the Brentford defender, to wrap it up. Then for defense, went with Still. Still was one of the highlights from last season's FPL campaign for Brighton. So it was a no-brainer for me. They were playing Luton at home, a newly promoted side, and you expected them to win convincingly. So of course, it wasn't far-fetched for me to have actually anticipated the clean sheet, but somehow they considered the penalty, and that wiped up the entire clean sheet. So yeah, putting that squad together was pretty interesting on paper. And of course, I don't have any bench. I mean, I made all the sacrifice by fielding a decent starting 11, but it wasn't decent enough to hit my target of 75, but I got 68. So it's not a bad start. I mean, on paper, it could have been, I mean, Eureka any other day, me popping balloon and celebrating, but it is what it is. I mean, for FPL, always find a way to manage your expectation. So sometimes you might have an awesomely assembled team, but sometimes when FPL wants to burn your fingers, it will burn it without you even knowing. So yeah, so that's my team selection. So will I be changing anything ahead of game week 2? Most likely not. So as I speak, I'm not really bothered about game week 2. I think I like to take things slow and steady. I'm not one of those managers that would like to rush and think and give yourself limitless headache when it comes to team selection. In fact, my team for game week 1, I didn't pick it until the D-Day. I mean, that was last Friday. I didn't pick my first team. Okay, I picked it from Thursday, day before the first match day of the season. So that's how I always go. I wait till the last minute before I do it. So yeah, that's it for me.
Interesting game week for Larry. I don't know if Sean has been able to um, fully be on board with us right now. Sean, are you there? Hello, Sean. Okay. I'm sure Shane is still trying to figure out the last minute invite and what to do. So that said, I would like to maybe show my team and say my
Okay.
name and give you some insight into how I've decided to set up for the week. But while I'm doing that, I think Larry, you are very, very in tune with how our league is currently lined up. And since you have your screen shared, I don't know if you want to show us what we had for the last season, last game week, and give us some insight or some analytics into how this should work, or what people are missing by not being part of the FPL Rodeo FPL league, where interesting things happen. So just give us a quick run through. I'm sure Sean would be interested in jumping on this as well. But when I hear from you, we then move to Sean and see if we can get some insights from the wizard of the game himself.
Okay, so FPL Rodeo is a very interesting community of fantasy Premier League lovers. It started with just a couple of guys, work colleague, come together to say, fine, let's banter outside the office, the physical office presence, where we just come together and we talk, we just, and let's find a way to just a platform where we can just put our words to where our words to action. So that was typically the idea behind the FPL Rodeo. But before it wasn't FPL Rodeo, we had some names. I mean, we've metamorphosed. I mean, across 3 different names before we now decided to make it what it is today. So for FPL Rodeo, we pride ourselves as a community where the greatest of the best of FPL professionals across the country come together to play, to have fun, and win lots of reward. And we have juicy package for every participant. At the end of the month, this season we're introducing manager of the week. But now we used to do just manager of the month. Then afterwards, we moved it to having cash prizes for people at the end of the season as well. And of course, over the years, we also included so many perks. I mean, last season saw the introduction of not just cash award, but also welfare packages for managers with our strong relationship with Pepsi. We were able to start giving out drink packs to winners at the end of every month. And of course, at the end of the last season, we were also able to give out free tickets for winners to watch the UEFA Champions League final here in Lagos, courtesy of Pepsi. So those are the perks that comes with you being a part of this community. And of course, you get to also meet with people from different walks of life and network with them beyond the worlds of FPL. So this is just some of the things that we have put in place, and we of course want to keep going and making the community bigger and better for everybody to participate, have fun, win prizes, banter, share in the fun and laughter, and of course keep getting bigger in the world of FPL. And one of the side pegs that we also get to do as a community is that we just don't want you to come on board and put money down and then it's just in there. We'll also help you improve on your game. One of the things we get to this is that we run in-depth analysis for every of the manager where we are pointing out what they have done right, what they have done wrong, how they could be better in the coming game week. So it's not, while it's competitive, we also want to give everybody equal chances at winning the prize that we have put out there. So yes, all the fun on the batters and all the opportunities to win great prizes, you have it available on that platform of FPL Rodeo. So don't be too hesitant to join us on this beautiful journey.
Fantastic. So it would have been nice to have Shane on the call as well so that we can hear his thoughts. But I wish I could give my...
Yes, you can. You can. I mean, you are one of the founding fathers of this beautiful community. So you have even more rights to actually talk about our journey so far. I mean, it's been awesome having people like you run the show alongside us. I mean, whatever growth we have been able to achieve over the years, it's incomplete without highlighting the importance of having someone as you and, of course, every other person who have been a part of this journey. So yes, it's something you need to talk about. I mean, blow your horns if you need to.
Yeah, no horns to blow right now. Okay, so I will try to share my screen as well. Let's see how quickly we can get this done. That said, before I start to speak, let me see if I can get Showing once more and try to see if he's resolved all of the concerns. Hello, Sheon, how are you doing?
Hi, Mayowa. Can you hear me now?
Fantastic. Welcome to FPL Rodeo, where everything fun about FPL happens. Welcome on board. I would like for you to tell us who you are, your favorite team. I know you are itching to say that, and as well as how you approached your selection. While you're also telling us that you might want to slot in how long you've played FPL and how your FPL journey started. Okay, so floor is yours.
Okay. Once again, hi, Mayowa. And hi, Larry. I should say to you before anything that I had a very bad weekend in FPL. It was bad. I second guessed myself and I lost out on a lot of points. Okay, so my name is Sheon. I'm a lover of FPL. I've been playing FPL for about 6 years now. It started when I was with one of the multinationals. I think we were having a chat one day, and then it was the beginning of the season, and someone just mentioned, there is a game called FPL where you can buy players and then run your team. And I got interested. I normally play Football Manager, where you're the coach and you can run through a season. So I got interested in this as well. And since then, I've been playing FPL. I've not won anything, to be honest, but it's been fun playing season on season. And like Larry said, I think it was 2-3 years ago, it was just one of the banters in the office, just felt like, okay, let's run a game. Let's gather ourselves, lovers of football, and see what we can do. And it has evolved over time. And that's how we've got here. So back to my story of last week. One thing I have learned in FPL is when in doubt, there are certain players you don't joke with. I think I gambled a lot and it backfired. Last week, I knew that I wasn't going to do well with Salah. So I took out Salah. I think if I should calculate between when we were allowed to start setting up our team up until last Saturday, I changed my team more than 15 times. And that's the first time it ever happened. Because first off, the cost of the players were so outrageous. And the normal analysis you would do went out of the window. To be honest with you, at a point in time, I was looking for an artificial intelligence system that can help me put together a team. So what were the ones I lost out on? Most painful, I had Isaac in my team. I had Luis Diaz in my team. I had Edin Ketia in my team up until the last minute. I changed Isaac to, what's the name of this striker from Aston Villa? I took out Nketiah and I took out Luis Diaz, and it backfired. I think I ended up with about 61 points or 64 points. And it was a very woeful return for somebody who feels he knows a lot about FPL. But I've learned my lesson. Although this second week, it's even worse than the first week, because now you do not have the opportunity to change more than one player without losing points. So I'm stuck now, but I know that I'm going to do better this week. I have a few points, but I would mention them as we proceed. Thank you once again, Myra.
Thank you very much, Sean. That was very, very interesting. And like so many of us, that we went back and forth with players and we got our fingers burnt. Your story is very interesting. I wonder, how were you able to have all of these names on your team sheet? Because I know that one of the things I struggled with was to have all of the players required to start FPL and not take a loan from the bank. And I hope someone is listening and they will allow us to start to take loans on FPL.
Because not everybody is Chelsea. Not everybody is Chelsea that can spend 1 billion naira without blinking.
They found a loophole and they are just running away with it. So
that's smart, eh?
Yeah.
So to be honest, some of the decisions I took last week was, first off, everybody wanted Alexander-Arnold in their team, but £8 million.
Everyone but player.
£8 million for a player with a shaky defense. No. So I had to take a call. Yes, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I knew that the first game was against a team that was equally formidable. So that being said, I knew for sure that if I should put in Alexander-Arnold, I risked the chance of losing clean sheets. So I took him out. I also did not go with the new captain of Manchester City, and thankfully I did not, because I think it didn't last for more than 60 minutes before he was taken out. Not 60. I think he went out in the first half. I had to make do with some additional points. João Pedro was also somebody I lost out on, because my initial front line was Nketiah, João Pedro, and Haaland. And I also sacrificed Salah, because in the midfield I had Rashford, I had Mbemo. Mbemo had a dead leg, but in a team where the striker, that's Brentford, the striker is on suspension, they will do everything possible to bring him back. So I had Mbemo, I had Foden, I had Rashford, I had Diogo Jota. I can't remember the fifth name now off the top. I'm actually talking from my phone. So yes, I had Watkins. I know that's the front line.
Okay.
But bottom line is,
right.
I still think the midfield was where my problem came from. My intention was to strengthen the midfield and take as much points as possible, but it backfired. So this time around, I'm going to change tactics and switch it a bit. But again, despite that, City will be playing Newcastle, and it's going to be a very tough match, I will still take him over bringing in Salah. Salah is a potential captain for week 2, but to bring in Salah and take out Haaland, I would have to make do with losing 4 points. Right now, I cannot afford that. So I'm going to stick with Haaland, and I know that week 3 and 4 for Man City are good games. But for Liverpool, week 3 is good. Week 4 is also going to be tough. So it's 1 for 1 from my end.
Interesting, Sean. So I was just showing everyone Sean's last game week's team. Interesting, Sean was also on the bandwagon with everyone captaining Haaland. I remembered last week when we were having our quick catch-up meeting, and we spoke about how the entirety of FPL was going to captain Haaland. I was thinking Sean, being the kind of manager that he has always been, would sneak in a quick detour from every one of us, and go a different route with his captain. I was also thinking his love and passion for Liverpool was going to make him captain Salah. Knowing fully well that Salah has scored probably in, I think, the 5 or last 6 first game of the season. I'm not sure about this.
Yes, you remember what I told you. You remember I told you clearly that Salah's record against Chelsea isn't that good. So I was expecting that record to be demolished, right? So he might have scored in the last 5 or 6, no, 5 opening games, but against
Yes.
Chelsea, it's a touch and go, and I would not risk it. And Alan is against a just promoted side. You're expecting him to do really well, so he did well. I also was expecting a goal from Chelsea against Liverpool. I just did not expect that it was going to come from a defender. I was expecting it from Jackson or somebody in front. That's why.
Oh, okay. So this is showing interesting choice. Interesting choice. So I was just going to try to share my team and also tell you some of the things that I felt I should have done differently. Although, like I said last week, my approach to the game week was very, very different. I didn't try to go all out like I usually would. My assumptions were I wasn't prepared for this season. Because I wasn't prepared for the season, I just tried to play it safe. And my approach to playing it safe was simply look at the teams with the easy opening fixtures. So I'd just gone ahead with players from largely 3 teams. And well, it was a good choice. Could I have gotten better? Yes. Could I have done way better? Absolutely. One of the things that usually happens to me, I rotate a lot and then I forget to save my team. So obviously, I'm trying not to show the players on my bench because there's a lot of points sitting on the bench that I would have loved to be on the starting 11. I know one of you will scream at me that they want to see my bench now. So maybe I just showed the
Oh
bench.
yes, because if you don't do that, then we are coming for you big time.
So for some strange reason, I left 14 points on the bench, and you would wonder how I allowed that to happen. But then again, it's FPL. Things do.
What? What? What?
I'm
You did
guessing so.
this? Oh Lord.
So I'm hoping that unlike past seasons, this has happened to me too many times. And past seasons were even worse, where I would pick the teams, do the transfers, and forget it there. So this season, I'm going to be a bit more deliberate about my selection, although I got off on the wrong foot. However, if you remember last week, I said to everybody on our call, my target was 77 points, a modest 77 points, but I ended up with 74 points, which wasn't too bad. Um, I also appreciate the fact that it seems we all started playing FPL about the same time. I'm hoping you all in your 5th season of FPL, because for me, I am not in my 5th season. This is actually my 6th season, and I would just like to show how my FPL journey so far has been. And that is because I just realized now that I have kept on improving my FPL performance season over season, which for me seems to be interesting. So I'm sure I casually just, went to FPL in the 2014-15 season, and I had 8,781 points. I was still maybe 1.2 ranked. And then in the 17-18 season was when we started this community. And then I took FPL serious again. And if you see my performance, it started to grow after maybe 3 seasons ago, and it seemed interesting from there on. Oh, my bad. This is going to be my 7th season. Interesting. I think I should get a trophy if I'm the longest playing manager, although I suspect some have played longer than I have. But if you see the numbers, it's been a slow and steady improvement season over season. So this season, I'm hoping to top this performance. I'm sure you also what I did last season, winning manager of the month in our community.
Please,
Just
can we move on? Please. I don't
please hold
understand
on.
this bloating.
It's my
I
time
don't
to shine.
understand this bloating.
You know, I might not have this opportunity till the end of the season when we'll
Please, this
start
season, please just remember that you and Justin have nothing to win this season.
So, like I predicted, we'll have an underdog winner, but I just needed to show this so that you can
Oh
see.
yeah, underdog like me, right?
No, yeah, Liverpool superhero. We expect that. So, looking at how you've performed in the previous season and the season before that, I know you're a very strong manager within the group. I respect your team selection sometimes. Maybe not as crazy as Justin can be once in a while. I see Babajide James. He also has a fantastic way of putting his teams together. I've looked at some of the new managers we have as well. Some of them have done, brilliantly in this first game week. But I would think that, your team would finish somewhere in the middle of the table. So I'm not so excited for you, albeit I know that I will finish in the not just the top half, but if we're to go by, I will be going for cup competition. And let's not forget, as the current head-to-head champion, I just need you all to know that it's going to be an interesting season, and there are so many things we can achieve. One of the things I'm looking forward to doing differently this particular season is how I approach the use of my chips. I randomly just go into it sometimes, but this season I want to be a bit deliberate about how I approach, chip usage and also team selections. But that said, Sean just disappeared on us again. But Larry, I would want to ask you, what would you say, or rather, who would you say is the standout performance from last game week, and which one, two, or three players do you think we would need to look at going into this game week?
Okay, so for me, Alan was in its usual element. So if you don't have Alan, then I don't know what you're doing. I'm looking at our league. I think virtually all managers have Alan, bar one person, and the person is currently seated at the bottom of our league table. So it speaks a lot about the
So
importance of
Haaland
Alan.
is the main differential.
So that's one, and of course, he's playing Newcastle, and for what is what, Alan is no one that gets dated by opponents. Is that guy we call the flat trap bully? He will just pop up with points out of nowhere. I mean, last season's performance is enough credence to the kind of points that he can bring on board for every manager. So Alan is one to look out for. Then of course Salah is playing Bournemouth. We know what happened last season. Interestingly, when they played last season, they got beaten 9-0, and Salah didn't have as much contribution as we all expected. Not as if I'm expecting a complete crash by Liverpool, but I still foresee Salah being a stronger contributor in whatever result that Liverpool gets out of that match. So that's it. However, the new for other players or assets to watch out for. I was particularly I caught the performance of Chelsea against Liverpool. I really enjoyed that match. I mean, there were a lot of pointers to how Chelsea is going to play this season. And one of the players that stood out for me was of course Chilwell. And of course, the role that he played in that match was completely different from what I expected from him. He was very active in the attacking third of the opponent, and of course, he popped up with an assist, got a goal shot for offline correctly, and he could have actually had more contribution. So he's one player that has currently gained so many owners right now in FPL. So it's understandable if people are going for him. And that player that is currently the hot topic in the world of FPL is Estupinan, a defender for Brighton. He last minute got an assist. Despite getting a yellow card and conceded goal, he still came out at 7 points, which is a very valuable point for a defender. So that's an asset that you don't want to miss out on. Unfortunately for me, I took a wild guess that he's not going to have as much season. But here I am wishing I actually got him on my team for Gameweek 1. Right now, his price has also gone up, and he's one of those players that are getting new owners fast. And which other players stood out for me? Those are the two picks for me personally. In terms of attack, I think the usual suspects came to the party, and I feel like people should also look out for Liverpool attackers. Maybe not the midfielder, but the attackers. It's going to take a while for Liverpool to really gel because of the number of midfielders they lost. They lost a lot of assets, and it seems to be like a rebuilding project. But I feel like somehow they're going to find a way around the performance, and those goals or contribution to wins will come up from their key attackers, especially Luis Diaz. He seems to have got back to his groove since his return from that long-term injury last season. So that's another player for you to look out for. And now that we're talking about that, someone asked a question earlier on the show. I'm going to pop it up right now if it's something that we can look at. So this is one of the headache that people are finding a way to manage. I've seen this on social media, particularly X, people asking who they should keep on the bench, which player they should bring on board. And this person is also asking that who should he bench out of Martinelli, Bruno, Pedro, and Jackson. Very interesting, interesting situation. I think the fixtures will also be one to decide who you should play and who you should not play. Arsenal is playing away. Arsenal is playing away, and it's going to be very tricky for Martinelli. He got an assist during the last game, and he was very lively in the attack. So he's a player that, of course, you know is going to come with the juice when need be. However, I'm not too sure of how they will perform against a tricky Crystal Palace side who is currently being coached by the veteran high-octane. It's not someone that likes to give so much away when it comes to allowing visitors into attack. So I don't know how much Arsenal is going to perform in that kind of match. So I don't think it's the one that you want to put the gamble on Martinelli personally. But I think Bruno is one that will perform against Spurs away. I think Man United had a very terrible first game at home to Wolves. But I feel it's going to they're going to back on their A game against. So it's one player that you might also want to consider putting on board. Brighton going away to Wolves. Pedro, I'm not too sure of how he's going to perform against the resolute Wolves defense. We saw what they did at Old Trafford against Man United. They could have won that match easily any other day, but of course, it is what it is when it comes to the EPL. So, Pedro against a Wolves defense is not one that I think is very, very important for you to start in. We have other options in Bruno, Martinelli, maybe. Yes. So for me, you can just drop Pedro to the bench, and of course, maybe keep Martinelli in your squad. Tricky as well, but you can't keep him. You can also keep Bruno. It's going to be, I foresee, an open game between Spurs and Man United. So it might be an asset that you might also want to bring, keep in your team. So that I think that's just it for me. They have to look out for who to put on your team and who not to put on your team.
Interesting. Now, which of the fixtures do you think will be the most entertaining this game week?
Entertaining, I think Manchester United versus Spurs is going to be very, very interesting. I think for one to watch out in terms of targeting, a feature for you to target, typically Liverpool versus Bournemouth is one that you expect everyone to look out for. It's going to be an interesting match. That's a feature to look out for. There's one more that people are kind of closing eyes to. It's Nottingham Forest versus Sheffield. I feel like it's one match that is going to be very valuable if you are owner of any Nottingham Forest attacker, whether it's Taiwa Oni or Elanga, or even their goalkeeper recently signed from Arsenal, Tona. It looks like a feature that Nottingham Forest is going to dominate. They proved themselves to be pretty strong at home last season. Of course, they from time to time, but always very hard not to crack. So it's another feature that managers might actually want to look out for.
Okay, very, very interesting. I'm not sure I heard you mention Ollie Watkins at all. Considering his form in game week 1 and knowing that they will be going up against Leeds, I would think Watkins might most likely want to, improve on his performance in the last game week and build up on that to do fantastic against Leeds. I also think James Maddison might also be one of the players, that will do well in this coming game week. I am most likely taking a bet on Chelsea defenders. I would say Chilwell and Reece James. might be some of the defenders that might, bring in some decent points for this game week. I think it would also be fair to hear what Sean's opinion would be on some of this. Let's see if I can get Sean up again. Welcome back, Sean. I know you dropped off very quickly, but glad you could join us. Your love for FPL is undeniable. So, quick question for you now that you're back. Who are the players you think are ones to watch? Who are the players you think we should avoid? And interestingly, I didn't ask Larry, but I also love to hear your thoughts on the captaincy options for game week 2.
Okay, I listened to Larry and I saw the question on Whitey. First off, I would keep Jackson on the bench. They're playing West Ham United. West Ham ended the season on a high. They won the Conference Cup. I expect them to do well against Chelsea. They're both London clubs. Expect feisty moments from that derby. But for me, the test game this weekend would be Man City against Newcastle. These are two strong teams that will be facing each other. While I am keeping Haaland on my team, I think the best bet for captaincy this week would be Salah. Liverpool is playing against Bournemouth. So I'm expecting to see Salah with a goal and roughly 2 assists. I'm not saying the game will end at 3-0, but Liverpool with their attacking prowess should be able to overwhelm Bournemouth. So I expect Salah to be a good choice on captaincy. Okay, I also want to mention that João Pedro is expected to do well this week. James has an injury now. He's down with hamstring injury against West Ham. Expect what's his name? You mentioned his name, Nadia. The left full back for Chelsea. How did I just forget his name now? You mentioned his name with James the other time.
Rhys James?
No, that's the right full back, the left full back. I expect Chilwell to struggle a bit because the intensity of West Ham will not allow him a free flow like he played. West Ham never plays 3-4-3. So for him to have played well last week was because the way they were set up was a disadvantage to their opponent. When you're playing 3-4-3 and you have a wing back, sort of, the one that Liverpool had but did not work well, expect the left full back of the opposing team to flourish. But when you are playing against a team that thrives on 4-3-3 or 4-4-2, expect it to be a bit difficult. So I would not go for Chilwell. I would go for James Maddison. He looks like the real deal. I would go for I'll still go for my Mbeumo. I think that's going to be a good one. I'll go for João Pedro. I'll still keep in my team Rashford. I expect Rashford to do well against Tottenham. Do not forget that this is not the Tottenham of the old. And expect Man U to want to atone for their errors from last week. Expect a win from City, but it's going to be a narrow win. I expect Oli Watkins to do well now this week. And I expect Crystal Palace to play really well, because that's another derby that you're not considering, to play really well against Arsenal. Will I want to play Martinelli? Not in this game. It is going to be technical from the midfield, but I think Martinelli will be out. That's from me. Okay, so hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Sean, thank you very much for your interesting choices. I want to just drop this on. I just want to drop this as a question out there. I'm currently trying to get our manager of the week on this call so that we can hear his thoughts and what he hopes to do in the coming game weeks. But while we're still trying to get him to come on stage, if you had the option to pick captain Salah, Haaland, what would your choice be?
Okay, so is this question coming back to me?
Yes, absolutely. Salah,
Okay,
Haaland.
so like I told you, now in playing FPL, I do not only look at the current game week, I look at about 2, 3 game weeks together. And I'm going to stick with Alan. Somehow, against the people's opinion of Salah, I will stick with Alan. Let me explain why to you. You cannot have Salah and Alan in the same team. So now that I started the game week 1 with Alan, it means that to switch to Salah, I would need to take out 2 players because one is a striker, one is a midfielder. So for the exchange to be complete, I would need to lose 1 player, and that is -4 for me. So I'm keeping Alan on my team. But for somebody who started with Salah or someone who can take the risk of -4 points, then I would say go with Salah for this game week 2. You will get a proper return from him that I can bet my quid on.
Interesting, interesting. Lanre, Radiant FC. Any thoughts on your captaincy? And if you had the option to advise our viewers to pick between Haaland or Salah, what would your take be?
Well, it's a no-brainer for me. I mean, it's easily Salah. Salah is playing at home. He looks to have gotten his reading back. I've basically gotten a goal against Chelsea. Shock for offside. Was really pissed that he was substituted earlier in that game. So it's someone who has fire in his belly, and I want to believe he's going to be unsung during the match. So I expect at least, 2 goals from him in that game. Alan looks like a very tricky pick, and Newcastle is a very hard nut to crack. So it's going to be a very tough game. But for what is what, Alan is going to be a decent pick for whoever wants to pick Alan. But personally, I'll go with Salah. Salah is a no-brainer. He's having a very juicy fixture, and you want to actually cash in on the points early on. And Salah looks like a better pick. The fixture is fine for you to go there. So whatever happens, I will always can happen. It can be a bad day at the office. It's understandable. I don't think you picking Salah and maybe if it doesn't perform would be the worst thing on it. I mean, the fixture is there, the points, the analysis, the pointers are all there for you to pick him. So for me, Salah, and I advise people to go with Salah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Salah all the way. I would want to believe that this will make Sean very happy. And while I would love to say thank you to the 2 of you for beautiful insights, your knowledge of the team is fantastic. I also want you guys to know that I have decided to bring a gentleman on this call. He's a very fantastic FPL manager. His name is Samuel, and Samuel is our current manager of the week. Trying to bring up his team for us to see. While that loads up, let's welcome Samuel on stage. Welcome, Samuel. Hello, and how are you doing?
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm fine. It's an honor to be here this evening.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Samuel, fantastic performance from the last game week. I don't know, for some reason, the gods are refusing to allow me show up your team for all to see. We'll keep at it so that everyone can see. Beautiful. So that's Samuel with 81 points for this week. Team Emerald FC is our manager of the week for FPL Rodeo 2023-2024 FPL season. And he has a fantastic team selection. I'd just love Samuel to tell us what his approach for picking this team was and what his strategy going into the next game week would be. Samuel, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I think for one, my team selection, I think just like Shane also mentioned the other time, I had different issues. At a point on Friday, I think I was already decided on my team. And then one of my colleagues at work was just passing by. And I just asked him, do you play FPL? He said yes. That was where I got to know about FPL Rodeo and all. Okay, so come and help me check my team and all that. Then he started removing some players, adding some players. I mean, if not for him, I don't think I would ever have Jao Pedro on my team. So I mean, a lot of things just came around after we worked on the team. Getting home, I looked at the team again. I wasn't really satisfied. I had to bring in some people again, just to, complement it. I was having issues basically with Arsenal player. If I should have Kai Havertz and Saka in my team, but I guess I was able to decide on one person, which was why I went for that. I think my biggest regret is not using Mbuemo from Brentford. That's my biggest regret for the game week.
So, understanding how it went, and thank you for also confirming to us that you had an assistant manager. So, to anyone watching this video, I need an assistant as well that can scatter my team and put it back together so that I can win manager of the week, manager of the month, and manager of the season. So, that slot is available to anyone interested that can help me breast the tape. However, that said, Samuel, what will be your strategy going into the next game week? You can tell us part of it so that some of us will not use it in our team.
Well, so I think I'm not making any transfer this week. That's for certain. I'm not making any transfer. One thing I like to do over the years I've been playing FPL is I like to have to transfer. That gives me options on making the transfer. For one, I won't be making any transfer this week. I'm still thinking if I should bench Foden. Given the team they'll be playing this week, I don't think he's going to make any impact. I'm still doubting that. And my captaincy is still between Salah and Haaland. As you can see, I have the two of them in my team. Just that, the tenacity at which Newcastle is playing now, I don't really think Man City will be able to, tackle them that well. So I'm still thinking, I'm considering captaining Salah for my week. I think for now, that is the only thing I would like to disclose because I would like to win the manager of the week again, and
Good
then go
choice.
for
Good
the
choice. Good choice. Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome on board, Samuel. Samuel is a new member of the FPL Rodeo community, and he's done brilliantly. He's fitting in well with the rest of the community members, and he's done justice to game week 1. On this note, we've been live for about 56 minutes and counting. I would like to say thank you to everyone who has tuned in, for everyone who dropped a chat. We did respond to one or two messages, I think, and it was a very short notice to bring Samuel on. Thank you, Samuel, for honoring our request to have you. Larry, it's always a pleasure to work with you. It's a joy to play FPL alongside yourself. For Sean, that keeps coming and going, his passion for FPL will not allow him stay away. The other members of our community will get to know them as the weeks come and go. We will do our best to ensure that we bring you exciting and informative sessions. We would speak more. We would show our faces at some point. We'll do our best to ensure that this will be your one-stop shop for everything FPL. And to anyone that gets to watch this video, please like, subscribe. We're just people that are passionate about football, love FPL, and love the joy the game of the round ladder brings to the heart of everyone. As we know, football crosses gender, generation, geography. It transcends all of these things, even language. It's a sport that is loved by all. So thank you so much for taking time to listen to all of us rant. We will bant in another video, but for today, we would like to say thank you and look forward to speaking to you after this game week. See you guys. Bye, Lanre. Bye, Samuel.